The first thing I pulled from the book, Michael's book, and certainly was inspired by then seeing the play, was this idea that a family that is under the boot heel of a very strict and unforgiving landlord needs to buy time to succeed as a farm. And the father, in a drunken state, buys the wrong horse to pull the plow to save the farm. And the warm blood he buys, who we call Joey, is in no shape. That breed of horse is in no shape to pull a plow. It's not the kind of horse that does, manual labor, so to speak. And yet, through a tenacious kind of belief in one another, the young son, Albert, and Joey formed this bond. And together they're able to at least attempt to save the farm by plowing an impossible, stony, infertile field. Right in the middle of the search process, we found Jeremy, and then we moved on to see if anybody else could match him. And 4 months later, we quickly came back to Jeremy, realizing that he was the best person for the part. There were times in the movie when I wouldn't even tell the horses what to do, and they'd be in a scene, and they would be reacting in the scene in ways I couldn't imagine a horse would be able to react or act. And there are times that you just have to sit back and thank your lucky stars that the horses somehow were cognizant that something was required of them, that none of us could tell them, but they intuitively were able to give it to the moment in the scene. The thing that I kept emphasizing from the very outset was that the horses have to be safe, not even a scratch. The horses had to be safe. If the horse hurts its leg, let's get a trainer to teach a horse how to limp. And the horses, by the way, it's easy to get a horse to limp. You just put a heavier shoe on the right foot or the left foot and hoof, and the horse does, it's a slower move with the foot that has a weight on it. Very, very safe. And so I just didn't want any horses getting hurt. I didn't want that sort of Damocles hanging over my head for the rest of my life, because I love horses, and I wanted, and even though there's a lot of violence in the picture directed toward horses and man, I didn't want any of the horses to be in harm's way, and Bobby kept the horses safe. Both of them were actors that I wanted to work with. I had seen Benedict on British television before and really sought him out and went after him to play the character. And Tom, I didn't know that well, but I saw him in a couple of smaller parts in films and thought he was kind of the reincarnation of Errol Flynn, and thought, wouldn't it be great to have the first person that purchases Joey from the father be this sort of dashing, classy, classic British hero. I really wanted to make Warhorse because I really think it says a lot about courage. The courage of this boy and what he endures and what he overcomes to achieve what he needs, and not just for himself, but for his best friend Joey. And it's also about the courage and the tenacity of this extraordinary animal. And the theme of courage kept coming back and back from the play, from Michael Morpurgo's book, and from Lee Hall and Richard Curtis's screenplay. And that was the underlying subliminal theme that I think informs every frame of Warhorse.